Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Don Lemon Show.
I watched the first episode of the Don Lemon Show, so you didn't have to. And although I really wanted to speak about the anticipated infamous interview between Elon Musk and Don after he did his little girly reaction video to him being fired.
Hi, everyone. Elon Musk is mad at me.
I didn't want to pull the typical liberal crybaby outlet behavior where they preemptively express their opinions and criticize an interview without even watching it first. I was completely unmoved by the people's thoughts about something they hadn't even watched yet. But since I am playing a character that has real emotions, I was irritated to see these opinions passed off as facts about Tucker Carlson's interview with Vlad the Historian.
A very significant date in the history of Russia was 988.
Many, if not all, liberal outlets reacted with fury over the interview that hadn't even been released yet, crafting opinions and narratives from a position of ignorance. You cry and whine because you didn't land the gig. This is the liberal MO that the media always uses.
Don't interview your boss. That is the lesson that came out of this hot mess of exchange between Don and Elon.
Hoping after a little bit of a break that maybe that Don Lemon would come back without a liberal producer in his ear, but I didn't see it here. I saw a guy almost like with an axe to grind.
Now I'm not gonna do the whole backstory on Don Lemon because it's honestly really not worth it. He's literally the dumbest journalist I've come across in the last 2 decades, and that's saying much with TYT being around.
No, Cenk, you are being told to put me in my place.
I saw that.
Right, put me in my, go ahead, Cenk, put me in my place.
But I appreciate every single one of you that is watching, so I will give you the dollar store version of who Don Lemon is. Don Lemon tried to be what Candace Owens is today by making headlines for telling African Americans what some of our core issues are within the culture.
I want the black kids to grow up and be like you. I want them to know that their imagination is God inside of them. Russell, I really appreciate that. But I don't want black kids or kids of any race to be just like me. I want them to grow up to be better than me. That's what my parents wanted for me, and their parents wanted for them. And as we approach the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington, we should all realize that it's what those brave men and women who risked their lives for our freedom and equality wanted for us. They fought for us and generations to come to be better than them, not to be illiterate or deadbeat dads or criminals. We must stop the blame for things that we can change ourselves. And again, as the first African-American president of the United States says, no more excuses.
Nobody cares how tough your upbringing was. Nobody cares if you suffered some discrimination. And moreover, you have to remember that whatever you've gone through, it pales in comparison to the hardships previous generations endured, and they overcame them. And if they overcame them, you can overcome them.
I remember hearing this message and it hit home for me. It changed a lot of my behaviors I was adopting to fit in. And you see, as a half-breed, aka biracial person, we have our own racial issues here in America that we deal with from both sides. A perspective a lot of you actually don't hear about because we're always put into the black box, because we're clearly not going to be put in the white box. We're going to be in the black box or the Hispanic box or the ambiguous box. And if this is how we're going to live in America, where we all have to be put in boxes, well then I guess you guys never had a black president and you never had a black vice president. And the sexiest woman alive isn't black. You know what I'm talking about, Halle Berry. And the 80s and 90s couples heartthrob that everyone loved, Lisa Bonet and Lenny Kravitz, are not black. And The Rock is not black. I can play this game with y'all all day, and in many cases, it's actually this whole thing with biracials called a tragic mulatto. Look that story up. Damn it, I went on a rant again. Listen, point being is that those messages were impactful and held us accountable, but somehow everything just changed. And if you think that was a one-time rant by Don, no, he had several.
Black folk, pay attention to and think about what has been presented in recent history as acceptable behavior. Pay close attention to the hip-hop and rap culture that many of you embrace, a culture that glorifies thug and reprehensible behavior.
Let's talk about race. Let's talk about black-on-black violence.
The outrage that I have is in the lack of really the national attention to what is an epidemic of crime in the black community, committed largely by blacks.
Why aren't we talking about it? Good question. So listen to this.
The reason there is so much violence and chaos in the black precincts is the disintegration of the African American family.
He's got a point. In fact, he's got more than a point. Bill?
Raised without much structure, young black men often reject education and gravitate towards the street culture, drugs, hustling, gangs. Nobody forces them to do that. Again, it is a personal decision.
He is right about that too.
The rhetoric of calling a spade wasn't good for business, so he did what he was hired to do: be the DEI hire. Black and gay. We got a winner.
Winning. You starting to get the concept now? Oops. Winning.
In fact, I honestly started noticing a lot of parallels between him and Candace Owens. They both are black, they both are in the news media outlet, they both like white men, they both have real heat with the black community, but only one of them holds the undisputed championship belt for the biggest in news media. Oh, no, I'm not talking about Candace. I was just putting a picture up there because, you know, he's a badass bitch.
Don't you ever say that.
He immersed himself into peddling fear and fostering a disease that permeates through so many people's minds called the victimhood mentality. He continued to spread whatever propaganda was called into his earpiece. He even attempted to make himself a victim with an interaction he had with my buddy Jonah Hill.
Matter of fact, a Twitter feud blew up on Thursday when CNN anchor Don Lemon posted that he had just run into Jonah Hill in a hotel. Think he thought I was a bellman, Don tweeted. Didn't know his name till the bellman told me. A lesson to always be kind. Well, Jonah had his own response, saying, I said hi, what do you want me to do, move in with you? I was in a hurry. Didn't realize you were a 12-year-old girl. Peace.
Oh, snap.
God, this guy is such a Dollar Tree condom. Don Lemon continued to propagate this behavior and message for years, consistently playing the race card whenever possible, ensuring that minorities are constantly reminded of their perceived inferior status in white America and how the white people are the true oppressors. Something that Don is way too familiar with since, you know, he literally role plays this every single night. So what are we doing tonight? Are you gonna be the white racist from the 1920s that's oppressing me, or am I gonna be the black guy who's oppressing you in 2023 because you know you're white?
This is not funny. It's not funny!
CNN eventually realized they didn't really care for Don, demoted him, which I assume was due to the ratings, realizing that they truly wasted 17 years on Lemon, so they fired him, and he gracefully responded.
The CNN This Morning anchor signing off his show Monday, just hours later tweeting, I was informed this morning by my agent that I have been terminated by CNN, adding, I would have thought that someone in management would have had the decency to tell me directly. I am stunned. CNN then with a tweet of its own, refuting Lemon's account, calling it inaccurate, writing, he was offered an opportunity to meet with management, but instead released a statement on Twitter.
Okay, I will say that's pretty fucked up to get fired like that, but nevertheless, Don of Lemons, a renowned journalist and television anchor known for his candid discussion and unwavering commitment to the truth, got fired peacefully at the young age of 57. Throughout his illustrious career, Lemon fearlessly acted like a douche in front and behind the cameras, cementing himself as the biggest loser on CNN, and just like that, he went away. But then he came back to bitch again. First of all, I didn't even realize he had some sort of talks with X. That's how irrelevant this guy was. Y'all realize that this man is the king of monetizing being fired, right? He managed to get hired by Elon Musk over at X, and after not being irrelevant for nearly a year, which I was so thankful of, he once again is getting his 5 minutes of fame for the exact same reason as last time.
You're fired. Get out of here.
No one wants this man on his team, so much that CNN reportedly settled Don's exit for $24.5 million. That is insane. No wonder this man is walking around here like Vince McMahon after the accusations. He made $24 million for being bad at his job and being disliked. That's an insane amount of money to not shut the up and just disappear.
That's all you have to do!
Oh God, what's with these narcissistic people that just won't leave? They won't go away, they just stay. Oh God, am I one of those people?
This is the worst!
But credit where credit is due. This clown went on every single clown show you can think of where the clowns gather together and jerk each other's egos off. He started his tour off by going back to CNN, the place that fired him, and he showed up with clips of the interview between him and Elon to hype up the interview and make himself seem like a victim. bitch shit, essentially.
Have you considered doing a show, he said, on this platform? Maybe worth a try. Audience is much bigger, said Elon Musk. But everyone knows how controversial Musk is. So I have to ask you, didn't you know this was going to end badly? He's, you know, Musk is not really.
You know, I had that same question for Elon. Why would you get into business with Don?
Went into this with my eyes open. And look, this is just an old saying in the South, and they say, you knew I was a snake before you picked me up.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's a snake, but I'm just saying that it's relative to this.
Wow, the irony. They hyped up this interview like the debut of the Shockmaster. Remember that guy?
I told you. Oh, God.
That one was for all my wrestling fans out there. Let's get the popcorn going and see what the fuss was all about. What? I wasn't joking about getting the popcorn. I was being serious. Don touched on the DEI and somehow didn't understand why people have an issue with it.
You don't believe in DEI, right? Do you not believe in diversity, equity, and inclusion?
I think we should be treat people according to their skills and their integrity, and that's it.
Do you know that studies show? Yeah, well, we can look them up. So what studies have shown, and people will reply and they'll say that companies with more diversity in their leadership teams have reported higher innovation rates than those with lower diversity or low diversity. And they're better companies and they make more money.
This is not true. This is not true at all.
This whole idea about DEI, if you go woke or whatever, you go broke, that's not necessarily true. People with diverse leadership teams and diverse workers make more money and more innovative.
Like I said, my view is that the only basis for promoting somebody should be their skills, talents, and their integrity, and that's it.
In fact, yes, studies have shown that DEI doesn't work. And Don, here are some resources right here for you, okay, just in case. Some claim it's because they're lowering the standards, others say it's because it's not being applied hard enough to work, and others are saying that the product is so old and outdated that it just doesn't work.
The evidence that I have shows that that's not true.
Free speech seems to have been the big topic of the discussion. Prior to the interview going live, Donnie kept going around talking about how Elon's against free speech.
Free speech is only important when someone you don't like, or I would say someone who doesn't have your same point of view, or someone is, if they're allowed to speak freely and to say their point of view. Apparently that doesn't matter to Elon Musk. It's just for maybe talking points.
In typical CNN and Lemon MO, he didn't give the full story and context. Otherwise, it would have revealed that, yeah, this guy is just a vessel for liberal beehive. And once the interview was released, everyone quickly realized that Don is probably the dumbest TV personality we've seen.
We delete things if they are illegal.
But these have been up there for a while.
Are they illegal?
They're not illegal, but they're hateful and they can lead to violence. As I just read to you, the shooters, you know, in all of these mass shootings, attributed social media to radicalizing.
So Don, you love censorship, is what you're saying?
No, I don't love censorship.
Then why are you asking?
I believe in moderation, but I don't believe in
censorship. Moderation is a propaganda word for censorship.
Later. But don't you think free speech is one thing, right? Or not, you know.
Look, if something's illegal, we're going to take it down. If it's not illegal, then we're putting our thumb on the scale and we're being censors.
You're putting your thumb on the scale for moderating hate speech. I mean, you don't put out child pornography. That's not,
it's illegal.
Some people would say that's considered censorship. I'm just saying.
We can have the discussion about what's right and wrong and what should and should not be up on social media for people to consume, but that will follow under the censorship portion, which, by the way, is Elon has the right to suppress, shadow ban, or even kick off whoever he wants to because it's his company, right?
Senator, nobody asked you to be the editor of the president's Twitter feed, the one he has been permanently barred from, the one he is whining about how they've taken away his freedom of speech. The fact is, These are private companies. They have no obligation to have anyone on their platform.
Funny thing is, Don must have completely forgotten about that clip. Like I said, he's not the brightest news personality out there, but hey, we need a gotcha moment, so let's bring up the race card.
I want to ask you about, there's a federal government, EEOC, they are also currently involved in a lawsuit against Tesla that alleges that there's a history of widespread racial harassment against black Tesla employees, as well as a pattern of retaliation for speaking out. What do you say to that?
I don't believe that is true.
At this very moment, Elon realized he made a terrible mistake hiring Don Lemon.
Do you know what the term woke actually means?
Seriously?
You don't agree that this country was founded on racism and founded on slavery and in many ways inequities?
Boy, here we go.
That still continue on to this day?
I think every country at that time, and I think even today, was extremely racist. Because in fact, if you look at history, if you study history broadly, everyone was a slave. Everyone.
How can I explain this to you differently?
Yes. Well, not everyone was a slave.
No,
but
everyone was a slave.
Okay, but
we are all descended from slaves.
Yeah.
Well, all of us.
Yeah.
It's just a question of when. Was it more recent or less recent? That's it.
Kevin, this is an awkward conversation.
But is this something we want to make a part of our constant dialogue forever, or do we want to say, like, let's just move on and treat everyone, according to just who they are as an individual?
I agree with you with that. That's the ideal. But what the evidence shows...
Oh, shut up, woman.
...is that that's not what's actually in practice.
I think we're doing better than anywhere else.
Message!
That's true. I agree with that. But that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean a lot to a whole lot of people who aren't able to take advantage of the opportunities that you were able to take advantage of, simply because of the color of your skin.
I'd knock that shit off if I was you.
What advantages did my color of my skin give me?
Well, there's an ease that you have in society that many people of color don't. You were able to come to this country voluntarily. There are many people who were not able to come to the country voluntarily. There are people who came here as slaves.
For me to come here.
And there is a legacy of slavery that still continues on. There's a legacy of racism that still continues on in this country. That's undeniable.
Right.
Well, if we keep talking about it nonstop, it will never go away. If we keep making that the central thing, it will never go away.
Why do you believe that?
I think I'm just making a simple statement of fact. I think we want to get away from making everything a race or a gender or whatever issue. And just treat people like individuals.
Message!
I don't think that anyone will disagree with that.
Exactly.
All I'm saying is that that's not happening and is not equal for everyone. That those opportunities don't happen for everyone.
Wait for it. Keep waiting.
And I am a living example that they don't. I know that they don't because I live it.
What?
You've been incredibly successful.
Eventually, Don started to shoot questions after questions, seeking a gotcha moment that clearly turned off Elon.
So you said if they kill the company, it's them. But doesn't the buck stop with you? I mean, you're
Don, I have to say, choose your question carefully. There's 5 minutes left.
Is this mic on? Don, read the room. You're about to get fired.
Listen, I'm honestly, I'm not meaning to offend you. You're an intense person. Where does that intensity come from?
I was born that way. And I had a tough childhood.
You did?
So, yeah.
How so?
Right, Walter Isaacson goes into it in the book, and we only have a couple minutes left, so...
All right.
Too long to describe. So there are 1 or 2 questions I can do, and then we'll have to call it.
Okay, again, I don't mean to upset you. Why are you just...
Hey, get that son of a bitch off the field right now. Out. He's fired. He's fired!
It's important to note that the issue wasn't the questions itself, but rather the delivery. It seemed to be more of an attempt to discredit Elon rather than engaging in a respectful conversation where his drug use could have easily been brought up and addressed differently. But Don Lemon doesn't know how to hold a conversation for more than 5 minutes because that's just what he's used to for 17 years on CNN, and it shows. It turned into just rapid fire questions instead of an interview, and at this point you could just tell that Elon was completely over it and was getting irritated. The interview then concluded, and as of right now, the interview has nearly 1 million views on YouTube, but that didn't translate to too many people subscribing to his channel. He went from 2K before the interview to 40K. Doesn't seem bad, right? But it's actually not that good. I'm not an Asian that's good at math, and neither is Decoy Voice. Shout out to you. But I'm pretty sure that translates to about 4% conversion rate. That's right, only about 4% opted to subscribe to his channel after the interview.
Haters gonna hate, I laugh cause you fake.
So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see him continue to try this YouTube thing, realize that no one really wants to listen to him, and then probably just go and leech off of one of those other networks with a guaranteed payday. It's easier to have a guaranteed paycheck than to rely on your own talent alone to make money, and he doesn't have a lot of talent, so I mean, I guess that makes sense. That's probably why he's scared and seeking out other people who would give him a guaranteed paycheck. He doesn't have it within him to be able to do this on his own, who will always equate everything to racism if he doesn't succeed.
Do you think he was uncomfortable sitting in front of a gay black guy?
Probably more gay than black, I would think. I hate to say that, but...
But who am I? I'm just a YouTuber in my room, right? This guy got $24 million after being fired and then tried to get the following from Elon Musk before getting fired by him. Lemon requested a free Tesla Cybertruck. Was that like a leftover popcorn piece? God. I'm just allergic to saying lemon. Donnie requested a free Tesla Cybertruck, a $5 million upfront payment on top of an $8 million salary, equity stake in a multi-billion-dollar company called X, formerly known as Twitter. Damn it, Elon, just change it back to Twitter, bro. He wanted the right to be able to approve changes in the X policy related to news content. He wanted private flights to Las Vegas, a suite for himself and his white oppressor fiance so they could party on a company's dime. I swear, the balls on this guy. Lemon claims he was fired over free speech, which makes 0 sense. He's still allowed to post and do whatever he wants on X. Elon just won't pay him his salary and all the other requests, which Elon claims is the reason he canceled the deal.
Saying the show's approach was basically just CNN, but on social media, which doesn't work.
And I'm sure also because he just realized he made a terrible mistake in picking this lemon out of the group of people to bet on.
You asked for like a cyber truck, $8 million annual salary, all this stuff.
That is nonsense. There's no lawyers working out anything. I'm under the assumption, and we're going to see we had a deal, and they have to abide by the terms of the deal. If they don't do that within the limits of the contract, then we'll be forced to take legal action.
Got it.
You could have easily found a better liberal gay black reporter like Robin Roberts. And she's female, so that's extra points right there for the DEI scale. And guess what? She also likes sleeping with white people. You notice that all these race baiters are mostly dating or married to a oppressor? Don Lemon, Robin Roberts, AOC, Ilhan Omar, who exercised her reparations, by the way. Did you see that story? Karine Jean-Pierre, and the list goes on. It's incredibly hypocritical and ludicrous to witness individuals who identify as strong black, brown individuals talking negatively about the white man, only then to engage in a romantic relationship with them. But maybe it's just because it's a generation of trauma. Speaking of trauma and interracial couples, some traumatizing news came out and I was in the middle of editing this video. If I did a good job, you wouldn't even notice which one was today and which one was a couple of days ago. But Candace Owens was fired from the Daily Wire, but let's just be honest. Who didn't really see that one coming? Ever since the infamous Ben Shapiro shit-talking video about Candace, things just seem to be somewhat off. And if you're interested in that whole beef, well, check out my video over here or over here. I'm gonna also put it at the end. I kind of predicted this, and just when Candace Owens was getting welcomed back into the black community, the Jewish community. Yeah, listen, I'm not gonna go down that path. I don't know how to navigate this joke because, you know, I'm scared. But seriously, we saw this coming. Almost every single show that she appeared on after that whole infamous beef between her and Shapiro, the host will always just bring it up in situations, and usually she would address it in this way.
So why wouldn't he just fire you?
Well, as I explained on Tucker Carlson's show, like, Ben doesn't have
the power to fire me.
I think the repetitive message that Ben can't fire you was kind of poking the bear. He may not be the CEO currently of Daily Wire, but in the end of the day, he started his company with his best friend, which means he also owns half of the company. And she just kept poking the bear, and she kept bringing on rabbis and arguing with them.
I minimize what I've been through. I mean, unique evils, slavery. I'm a black woman. I mean, there's tons of things that have happened, and I don't want to pretend that I think that when it happens to Jews, it's somehow more evil or more unique than when it happens to other groups all around the world.
I'm gonna ask you. Honestly, watching that last one that she did with that one rabbi, it's like, was Kanye West right?
Boy, have you lost your mind, because I'll help you find it.
But honestly, I think she kind of exposed the hypocrisy within some of the Jewish community, just like there's a hypocrisy within the conservative community, just like the liberal community, just like the black community, just like the Asian community, and everyone across. Every single community has some sort of hypocrites within it, and people that you just don't always agree with.
Did I stutter?
About this for a second. She keeps bringing up rabbis and arguing with them. She keeps defending Kanye West. She didn't speak up against Kanye West when he was going on his, anti-Semitic tour. She didn't take the Israel or nothing stance. She's been consistent about the way she feels about the war, just basically being a nationalist. She keeps attacking Taylor Swift, attacking two communities of people. My daughter's a Swiftie. I know it's weird, but I'd rather have my daughter listen to a 34-year-old basic white girl cosplaying as a teenager who sings about love, heartbreak, and all the different levels of friendship than Beyonce. Despite being a remarkable artist at 42, she still chooses to rely on her body for attention rather than her talent. Call it a black woman empowerment all you want, but I prefer my daughter fan out on a flat booty, modest dress, guitar playing woman with an average voice than Beyonce, who's just nearly naked, dropping down, shaking her ass in an Adidas commercial and singing about riding my man like a surfboard, then drops a country album and song, but again has to sell it with her body. That's not black woman empowerment. I'd rather my daughter not end up unfresh and fit. Plus, there's also something off about Beyonce and Jay-Z. Watch it. Something's gonna happen. Regardless, it was announced that Candace Owens was fired. And to be honest, I was kind of shocked to see the reaction that I saw under Jeremy Boring's post on Twitter. People did not have their back. In fact, it's not a good look for Daily Wire, especially since they've been touting about free speech. It just doesn't look good. And according to everything I'm looking, there's a lot of Candace Owens support. In fact, I also supported her. I immediately went on to People's Locals or whatever it was called.com and paid the $77 to join her yearly group. And in fact, if you are a supporter of Candace Owens, I'm gonna put the link below. No, it's not an affiliate link. She has no idea who I am, but you can go ahead and sign up for a year for $77 right now where you get exclusive content. I'm honestly gonna be honest here. I don't know if this was always Candace Owens' plan or not. If this was the ultimate plan to kind of poke the bear until they let her go, because everyone has contracts. We saw it when the whole Steven Crowder thing fell apart. But it's honestly quite sad to see that Daily Wire went this route. Maybe she is honestly better off without the Daily Wire. According to all the comments and the support that I'm seeing, a lot of people are rocking with Candace Owens, including me. I don't know if they're gonna take a massive hit. She does get numbers. I look at numbers all the time on YouTube, and honestly, it's Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro, and third is Peterson. So I'm very curious to see what's gonna happen with the Daily Wire now. But this is life. People argue, people fight, people don't get along, and people may give you thumbs down on their video. Who knows? But until next week, y'all. This one was a long one, I know, but hopefully you enjoyed it, especially the 20 minutes of me trashing Mr. Lemon. And let's be real, kind of clickbait, I'm sorry, but I do have a video with Candace Owens already, and her news honestly completely trumped anything Don Lemon. I was just trying to make my video relevant. Share, like, subscribe. Peace out.